I am so glad you are here. It is alive on Wednesday, December 9th, 2025, and let's get started getting those lovely Instagram folks on board. Okay, so big week. It has been so much fun this week to be in the shop, just to be around. Let's start with the what are we drinking and what are we wearing? So, what are we drinking? Well, I've got a little hawthorn in here. I've got some ashwagandha, a little
Your
piece of
recording has
ginseng.
reached the maximum
Ooh,
length. To
I
replay
don't
your
know what
message,
that is.
press 1. To delete and re-record your message, press 3.
Hmm,
For delivery options, press 4. To send a fax, press 6. To cancel
what an
this message,
interesting thing.
press.
There we go. Anyway, so I've got some, oh, not last night, but the night before last, I just did not sleep well. It was the worst night of sleep I've had in ages. So I've got a little ginseng in here because that's really the only time I turn to it. Some green tea. Why not black tea? I had it this morning before I came in. A little hawthorn, a little gotu kola, if I remembered to put it in, and ashwagandha, just to help me smooth my day and get me all the way through, including tonight's class with the third year herb students. They are so much fun. Really looking forward to starting up year one again in January. If you are interested in expanding your herbal knowledge, folklore, magic, medicine, all of it, the psychology of the herbs, sign up as soon as you can for that year one that's starting in January. Very exciting. So that is what are we drinking? What are we wearing? I've got a nice collection of rings on. I've got on my little left pinky, I've got thulite. I thought it went nicely with my sweater. I've got some labradorite that is faceted cut with a pretty large flat face, some citrine on my right hand, so send out that sunshine, right? It's a rough cut. And then I got a little lotus here as well. All beautiful pieces. And of course, this is from one of our newer consignees. So this is another local maker. The rings are all from Tracy. So Tracy's Treasures here. The jewelry is from this delightful couple. She designs the jewelry and makes most of it. He designs tapestries. They're just delightful. And hopefully we'll have them on soon as guests. But that's what am I drinking? What am I wearing? Let's see what's going on. I have a cheat sheet for that. So what do we got going? Sunday the 13th. So this coming Saturday the 13th, this coming Saturday, the Alliance Coven is meeting again at noon. If you are interested in dipping your toes into paganism and just covering a lot of different kinds of topics that come up in a lot of pagan groups, from forms of divination to what does initiation mean and all the questions in between, Alliance Coven is a great group of 3 teachers that are really pouring their hearts into this, and they're so good. So I'd encourage you to come check them out if you're interested. If you want a more British traditional path, the following Sunday, the 14th, so a week and a half from now, basically. No, sorry, half a week from now. Sunday the 14th at 10 before we open, sort of the Intro to Gardnerianism series is running there. Also covers a lot of topics, but some of them are worked in a little differently. So it's a different style, different styles of groups, frankly, of working groups as well. But Tarot Lab is also taking place on Sunday the 14th with Nancy Antonucci, and that's at 3:30. You can sign up with her directly, or you can sign up with us on our website, magusbooks.com. It's always a fun class. It is good whether you're a dead beginner or you are an experienced reader, because she's not going to lecture you on this is what this card means. If you want little snippets of that, tune into the Divine Saturdays that we do here. We'll spend 5 minutes on a card. We'll spend 5 minutes on palmistry, whatever it is we're doing that week. That's a great way to learn that stuff. What she is going to do is take you through some exercises that are meant to help you become a better reader, get to know the deck you're using better. Don't have a deck yet? That's okay. She's got some you can borrow during the class, and she always brings a few with her. So no barrier to this class because it is a by donation class. So pay what you can afford to pay. The teachers keep their share. They give some to us, and vice versa. If you do a donation online to the class, we let them know, and then we make sure they get half of that money as well. So for the teacher's time, you get to pay them, and our cut is for, of course, keeping the lights on and getting the space, which we appreciate you guys coming in. taking the class, shopping around. It's always fun to see the folks come in for those classes. The next week, on the solstice, the 21st, which is a Sunday this year, Reiki 1. What a brilliant time to get your Reiki 1. The dawn, the end of the old, the beginning of the new. Perfect time to do that. I'd encourage signing up if you're interested. And then the following Saturday, the 27th, after most people have had their holidays, we're still in the midst of Kwanzaa, though. We've got Astrology with Adam, class that's been getting rave reviews. This is probably his best series yet. Sunday the 28th, 10 a.m. before we open again, that Gardnerian 101. At noon, a Reiki share, and at 4, palmistry with Eshu. And then Saturday, January 3rd, Alliance Coven's back at noon. And at 3, we have American Hoodoo and Folk Magic taught by our favorite, one of our favorite readers, Eshu, who is, gosh, she's coming in today from noon to 6. It should be good. He is steeped from childhood in American Hoodoo. So he's going to teach you about some of the things he learned growing up with his Dominican father, his Irish American mother, down near New Orleans. So tune in for that class. That's another by donation class. So come in and check that out if you're interested. You can always make a donation at the end of the class or beforehand. You can also sign up at magusbooks.com for that class and make the donation that way too if you'd like. We just communicate with the instructors and we make sure we know what the whole pool is at the end of it all. Have I missed anything? Oh yes, the Gardnerian 101 and the Alliance Coven meetings are completely free. They're not even a by donation thing. They're just free meeting space for a group that's offering a free class, basically. And stay tuned because a delightful author, Jessica Settergren, is just as looking to start a grief group. And it looks like we might be hosting that as well as a completely free event. We'll see. We're emailing back and forth. I got her email yesterday and responded yesterday. And I'm so excited for that idea. And for those of you who don't remember, she's been on It Is Alive to talk about her book, which has a lot to do with her cancer process and her struggle to find good spiritual resources for herself as somebody who is not of the Abrahamic religion, shall we say. It's a great book, and you can find it over in our Wicca section because that's more or less where it belongs, Pagan Witchcraft Wicca section, which is a pretty big section, to be honest. Her last name is Settergren, so she's going to be in the S's if you're interested in that one. We had a lovely former chaplain in yesterday who really was delighted to find that type of book available for folks. Brought up a fresh copy this morning from storage. So that's what's going on. Let me remind you that we do have all those wonderful readers. Daryl, however, is on vacation this week, so his spots might get covered by Eshu. It'll be a little hit or miss whether or not they get covered, but Eshu's in today from noon to 6. He'll be in on Thursday from noon to 3, and at 3, he hands it off to Heather, who's the delightful tarot reader. They both do tarot, and Eshu also does palmistry. Friday, Ravenwolf will be here from 1 to 4, and normally we'd have Daryl in for a couple hours after that, but again, he's on vacation. Saturday, Eshu will be here from noon to 3, and then he'll hand it off to Margaret, another wonderful tarot reader, a delight to have here. And on Sunday, Eshu is with us all day from noon to 6, and Daryl should be back by next Monday to be here from noon to 2, followed by Morpheus doing dream interpretation from 2 to 6. Tuesday, Ravenwolf is here noon to 3, and then he hands it off to Daryl, who does 3 to 6, and then we're back to Wednesdays with Eshu. Really looking forward to seeing that transpire. They're all amazing readers. They all audition to read, so they all have to know their system that they're offering well. They have to audition in every single method they want to use for divination methods, just so we can say they've auditioned. Sometimes it's perfunctory because I already know they're good readers, and sometimes it's I don't know if this person's a good reader, and I just do my best when I audition those folks to be a tough read. I want them to rely on those resources that they normally use for reading, not necessarily my facial expressions or what I say. So I try to be a tough read during the auditions. They all have to pass the audition. They have to know the system that they want to read in. Can't still be looking stuff up in a booklet or anything. They have to not try to teach me the system, because that's not what I'm there for if I'm getting a reading. I need to just get the reading. They have to be polite because it's very different reading for a stranger than it is reading for your friends. So suddenly how you speak starts to matter just a little bit more. And that we've had that come up. And you have to show some talent for doing the readings. So whether that's the cards you draw and what they mean to you are spot on, and you can't figure out why as the reader, or whether it is, and that happens a lot with me, or whether it is that your reading is just flows beautifully and perfectly, and you're clearly tapping into something that's helping you get those cards interpreted for situations that might fit my life. So that's where we are with the readers. And for those who don't know, it is $2.50 a minute plus tax for a reading. That is the price that all of the readers here have agreed on for now. That's $2.50 per minute plus tax. Then that makes like a 20-minute reading about $56, a little less than $56. So it's not bad. Tax here in the city of Minneapolis, between the various city sales taxes, the county sales taxes, and the state sales taxes, of course, there is no federal sales tax, comes up to over 9% now. So in my head, I just pretend it's 10%. It's just, I'll definitely not be in budget. It's just easier for me. But as for stuff that's here, I did not bring in a lot of gift items this time, but I did want to let you know that today we are getting some new releases from Llewellyn Books. Llewellyn Publishing is going to be sending us sometime this afternoon a box full of books that includes Attract It All, a new book on how to attract what you need in your life, whether it's love, money, satiety, anything along those lines. The Essential Lenormand has a second edition that is coming today, and by Donald Tyson, Before You Do Magic. So these are the techniques that make sense to get well versed in to improve your spellcasting ability, or even before you start to cast spells, just to develop some good habits mentally and emotionally that help make magic more effective in the long run. These are basic tools that I think occultism, in everybody's anxiousness to get to how to do the thing, they forget that these exercises, these habits, these are the backbones of magic working. It isn't just chant that one chant that you read off that page in that book or that note card that you wrote it on. There is more to it that makes it much better and more effective. And Before You Do Magic by Donald Tyson is going to get into that really nicely. The other two new releases we've got coming in are Become an Expert Tarot Reader. Goes great with our Tarot Lab with Nancy. And The Root of Trauma, which looks at the psychological and chakra aspects of trauma and trauma recovery. So if you've got stuff that makes you feel triggered in life, The Root of Trauma is going to take you through a journey where you work through it using the chakras as a way of growing through that pain to become more fully your best self. The advantage of that, really, from my perspective, is it forces you to take a step back from your own emotional response to the trauma, because you're going to put the chakra between you and the trauma as an intermediary to help you interpret what you're feeling and interpret how you might want to move forward. So really, really valuable work, in my opinion. So that's, oh, I have more new stuff for you guys. Wait. So these came in yesterday. These are free. These are little red whistles. So for those of you who are interested in observing what ICE is doing in our immediate area, these have been supplied by a group that is helping people to do that. And we've also got some guidance that we've posted actually on the wall that's behind me, on the other side. We've got some of their advice posted as well, but you can come right up to the front counter and pick up a little red whistle if you'd like. I'm not going to torture you. I'm not blowing this whistle, but there you are. And I wanted to also remind folks that they're going fast, but our grab bags with their traditional little snarky sayings and punniness. This one is, what do Thelemites do for foreplay? The LBRP. Yeah, I know it's corny, but it works. A lot of dad jokes on those bags. The grab bags themselves are $11.11 this year, so they're worth something in the $20 to $25 price range. And there's usually some kind of incense in there. There's usually a used book in there, and there's usually some other things in there. This is a product that comes and goes. We save up things for this. So I have, for example, some brand new books rather than used books that I know will be going into some grab bags soon, because they were sample books sent by a book distributor and also by a book publisher. Excuse me, I'm going to disappear for a moment. There we go. Shame on you, you little card, you, falling down like that. The grab bags themselves, though, some of them this time have some essential oil, like little sample kits. Some don't, many don't. Some have jewelry, many don't. It is a grab bag. You never know what you get. We just save up stuff that we think is cool and not terribly tatty, other than maybe the used book. A lot of them will have like three or four stick sample packs of our best stick incense in the shop. You know who you are. If you're a fan, you know it's there. And I remember when I was loading the bags that in one instance, one of the packs only had 2 sticks. So I found another 2 sticker just to make sure. But with the prices on that going up, because the owners of that company are adding an 8% charge to their product because of the tariffs and how that affects the ingredients that they have to import into the US. Not a lot of myrrh trees here, not a lot of frankincense trees here. They do have to import some of their ingredients. American company, yes. But the stick base is not manufactured by them. The stick base they use, the punk sticks they use, that's the term for a blank unscented incense stick, very high quality. They've been very specific about what they want in it and how they want it to light and work. Also an import. So since so very much of what they bring in is imported, they are absolutely tacking on an 8% charge for an incense that already retails at over $18, over $24, and over $28, depending on which one you're getting. So as you can imagine, you're going to see about a $2 price increase to those. I did order last week. I was expecting it to come in by now, so I'll be giving them a call today to see where that order's at, but we are getting restocked. So yay. All right. Anything else I've got for new? That's all I've got for new stuff. Yippee. I love this. Next week, I'll bring in some more gift ideas. But I thought today, since we're coming to what some people view as an end of a year, the calendar year is coming to a close. For others, between Halloween or Samhain and New Year's or Yule, depending on who you're asking, is not the year. It is the sort of like the new moon of the year. It's the time we might cleanse. There are other people who will put the new year at February 1st or February Eve. It really depends on the tradition you're talking about, the culture it came from, and how it works. Lots of details that I don't control and don't want to. But regardless, this tends to be a time of year in the Northern Hemisphere where things get quiet, where this is a time of year traditionally where you might repair things that you didn't have time to repair during the height of the gathering or growing or hunting seasons. So suddenly you see people cleansing for the winter, and they'll do it again in the spring usually. So I thought I'd talk about some things that have traditionally been used for cleansing. One is myrrh. And we've got a couple kinds of myrrh, and myrrh, by the way, is a resin. It comes from a particular kind of tree. So I think there's a couple species you might get it from. There's a red myrrh, the different species technically. There are other resins that come from Commiphora trees. So the genus for this is Commiphora. But yeah, this one is coming from Commiphora myrrha, but there's a few others. And there are other resins that come from Commiphoras that do not count as myrrh because they just don't smell as good. Like Gugulu is one. It's used in Ayurvedic medicine, but this is myrrh. We have a couple kinds. I brought in the Ethiopian myrrh just because it's juicier looking. It just looks to me like it's going to do a better job for folks. But this is a very traditional cleansing resin to burn. And where a lot of the cleansing reputation comes from for many of these would be, think back 1,000 years or so, and you've got a illness that's running through the area, something serious, where you need to gather and collect those ill people into what you might call a hospital, even though it would not resemble a hospital today. Well, the better ones tended to have essential oils, infused oils, or just flat out burn things that cleansed the air. And it turned out with many of those herbs, they did in fact cleanse the air. That the reason you who were in there because you were dying of one, you're seriously ill with one disease, didn't catch the airborne disease of the person in the next bed was because they were burning this stuff. And you inhaling this and it being in the air, studies now show, helped to destroy the microbes that might have gotten you sick with yet another illness. So there's a variety of herbs that get used for that. It depends on who you're talking to. In addition to myrrh, I would point out lavender is a really good choice. Lavender, I refer to it often as like the French cleansing herb. And it is, it really what that name, lavender, though, comes from the Latin for clean. It's where you get lavatory from. It's, washing, cleaning, those types of ideas are wrapped up in the very name that we still use for that plant to this day, whether we're talking about English lavender or French lavender, which are counted as two different species, at least the last time I checked. Genetics is changing a lot of that as we're researching the genomes of these plants. It's lovely. But you French, you have English, you have spike lavender, which is a cross, and you have lavandin, which is another cross of some of these. All delightful. You will also see people using thyme and oregano, especially the essential oils. It's what I will favor if I'm sick. I'll plug in an aromatherapy diffuser and I will drop on a little bit of, I find thyme oil to be my preference, but for others it's oregano, and those are fine. And then we get to the ones that are probably better known as indigenous American choices, depending on where you live. So those would include the sages, which is my little cheat sheets keep falling, and Palo Santo. So we, at this time, we've carried many sages over the years, but right now we've got just sage in bundles, and we have 3 different kinds of sage in those bundles. We have the classic white sage bundle. This is the California white sage. Salvia apiana is the botanical name. It's probably the most popular and best known, at least in this area, for rituals where you're going to burn the herb to cleanse the space. You might see it called bee sage, California sage, sacred sage. There's all kinds of names this one gets to. So think cleansing, think healing, protective, and meditation. Those are the things most often associated with that classic white sage. Then there is black sage, which some view as more protective, a little stronger than the white sage. Very helpful for inner work, inner healing, divination, crystal gazing. Even if you're going to take an astral travel journey or explore astral travel, black sage is one that will come up as maybe the better choice of all the sages. It's thought to help increase positive energy by taking away negativity. Well, those airborne little particles, they would have been negative spirits, negative energy in ancient times. And that's what this was used for then. It's what it's used for now. So it creates a positive space by getting rid of things you don't want in the space. The other one we have is blue sage, also called desert sage or Salvia azurea. This is a sagebrush, and it's been used for centuries for its healing properties. So think cleansing and purification. Again, getting rid of negativity. Why? Because you're clearing out the negativity. Promoting healing by creating a better space for it, and creating just a more serene atmosphere generally. So in some ways, the gentlest of the sages, at least of the 3 we have right now, but a beautiful choice. And I will also mention Palo Santo. We carry that as well. This is a tree that's native to South America. So think South America practices, indigenous practices here. So it's been used medicinally and spiritually for centuries upon centuries by the indigenous societies that have lived there. It's almost always burned, very much like sage might be. And the smoke, again, is thought to carry away negative energies, promote relaxation. Here's what I will say. Palo Santo, it's a little wooden stick. It has a nice bright scent to it. So we are talking about something that has some of the same chemistry as, say, the sages for that cleansing aspect, but it's also got chemistry in common with citrus fruits, which gives it this sort of bright, sunshiny aspect as well. So I wouldn't say tangerine, but if I were to describe it, your mind might take you to tangerine. A little piney, a little citrusy. Doesn't smell like a tangerine, though, but in that grouping of scents. These are lovely. There are other herbs we have carried, and I'm sure we will carry again, that are classic cleansers as well. But this is absolutely a delightful choice. And in the case of the myrrh, this guy, because this is actually just the resin, just like one of the three magi went on their great journey with as a gift. This is going to get burned on charcoal, and it's charcoal for incense. This is not the charcoal you have out by your grill. This is a little bit different. Often the difference is that there's some saltpeter in the charcoal so that it will light without lighter fluid. In either case, whether it's got saltpeter in it or not, it's often got a flat or even concave surface for you to put the myrrh on so that it can burn and stay on. It's not going to roll off the charcoal like you're going out and getting your standard barbecue charcoal. It's rounded. It looks like a little pillow. So the resin can roll right off. That does not work well. That said, once the resin's on there, it's going to make tons of smoke. It's going to fill the space up. It's going to do its job. And if you're trying to cleanse the space, I would take whatever you've got the charcoal burning in. Hopefully this is some kind of dish that can handle the heat, usually with sand in it to help insulate you from the heat of the charcoal itself. Often these come with a little wooden trivet so that when you set it down on grandma's antique dresser, you don't destroy it. But you would take this around usually into the closets, into the corners, go around the windows, go around the doors, just get everything nice and smoky, and it will do a fabulous job for you. With lavender, you could do the same with the herb and a little of the essential oil, or you could get an aromatherapy diffuser and use that, or a simmering pot of water for that matter, and use that with some lavender on it. Just put a little lavender oil in the water that you're using, and that will carry the scent everywhere and do a great job for you. With the sage bundles or the Palo Santo pieces, I'm going to recommend that you light one end. And particularly with Palo Santo, because it's a piece of wood, this will take a little bit of time. It's not going to, the sages will light up pretty quickly. The Palo is going to be a little longer to get lit. Some of the charcoals can be a little longer to light in all cases. I light a candle just because then I'm not worried about my fingers getting too hot with a lighter that's been lit too long, or with a match that burns down a little further than I should have let it burn down, trying to get things lit. So I'm going to light them off of a candle. And again, I'm going to take that Palo Santo and I'm just going to keep it moving, or the smudge. I'm going to keep it moving, because if you keep it moving, the odds are it will stay lit longer. And again, I'm going to go around my windows, around my doors, into all my closets, into every corner, and just get everything good and smoky. That is part of how that cleansing style works. I have even smudged myself with my sage or my lavender. And there are, by the way, people who combine these things. So you could get a small piece of Palo Santo, get it lit alongside a piece of sage of your choice, a bundle of sage of your choice, and go around with both. You could do one after the other. People will also do this with little sprigs of lavender. Doesn't work so well with the dried lavender because it's just the blossoms, but if it's still on the stem, you can tie it into the sage and it will do a delightful job working in tandem with the sage that you chose. So, totally think these are good ideas, especially midwinter, especially in colder climates where you're maybe not as inclined to open the windows. Some folks I know will open them a crack no matter how cold it gets. Others are like, heat's expensive. Absolutely not. We're stuck with the scents that we make all winter long. And especially if that's you, doing this periodically is not a bad idea. Maybe do this now because the year is coming to a close and you want to wash away any negative energy from 2025 and welcome in 2026 with more of a blank slate so you can build instead of trying to dig out of a hole, build from the ground up. Not a bad idea to do it every new moon as well. Just a little quick bath for the house, little smoke bath for the home. And I think you're well on your way to a better and better life. And just because I might do it periodically or when I feel the need doesn't mean you don't have to have a set pattern. Maybe right now you're really going through it and you're going to burn it every single day. Or you're worried your house is haunted. You're going to burn it every day or every week or every 3 days. Whatever you need to do is good. Do it the way you need it done. You can add to these little chants, little prayers, little meditations. Those are all things that are going to heighten the effectiveness of what you're trying to do. Even if what that means is that you reach way back into your memory and you sing that Snow White song about cleaning the house, whistle while we work, and then whistle the rest of the time. That's effective because it's in your head already symbolizing that things are going to be not only be cleaner, but better because they're cleaner. And that's a fabulous thing. Don't have the energy to do real cleaning today? Do a little smudge. Don't have the energy to wander around your house with it? That's okay. Get that incense charcoal like you'd need for the myrrh and the dish, and just unravel the sage bundle and put a leaf on the charcoal. Burns up, put another leaf on. You can just sit there and watch it do its job. Is it as effective as you getting up? No. But is it better to get 80% effectiveness because you sat there and managed to light the charcoal and get the leaf on it and do your thing than to get nothing? Yes, it is. Do the system that works for you, no matter how exhausted or tired you are. Find a way to adapt what you're doing to your level of ability in that moment. And if in that moment you're like, I can't believe it's Friday already, I am exhausted, just light a charcoal and light the thing of your choice. Put the Palo Santo stick on the charcoal. It's big. You'll be able to take it off when you're done. Or just slowly add little bits of leaf from one of the sages or a piece of myrrh. And by the way, if you've not worked with resins before, one piece of myrrh first, one piece. It's very easy to add another piece on 20 or 30 minutes later. It is very, very hard to reduce the smoke if you put a whole pile on and you find yourself a little overwhelmed with the smoke level. So if you're working with a resin, most of the resins will sit on top of the charcoal, which means you can kick them off. I'm very bad because I don't have tongs. Tongs are a good idea, but I'm so bad. I usually take a pen cap and flick it off with that. But by all means, do the right thing. Buy special tongs for incense. Buy lots of special equipment by all means. We're here for you. But regardless of how you do it, if you're using the incense charcoal, super easy. Just add a little bit at a time and you're good to go. So I hope this helps. Once you've got the space cleansed, my next recommendations would be establish a sensation of walls and security, whether that's eggshell powder around the premises, clapping together pudding stones at every corner and every quarter of the home. There's a variety of ways of declaring the space yours and marking it as a territory that other entities are not welcome to come in. Things you don't want influencing you don't get into the space. Once you've done that, though, in my mind, you've kind of created a vacuum. You've created sort of an empty space that you've claimed as territory. Don't leave it empty. Fill it with something that you like, a piece of art that you enjoy, an incense or essential oil you love the smell of. Heck, if there's a soap you like the smell of, open a bar and set it out so that scent wafts around the room, and when you pass by, you get a whiff of it. Whatever it takes, fill it with sights, sounds, scents, flavors that you love, that bring you joy, because then you're filling the space with joy and you. Now I think you've got a nice, secure space to do your magic in, to meditate in, to do the things that bring you joy in life, because you've deliberately filled it with joy at the outset. So hopefully that helps you all out. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful week, and we hope to see you here at the shop in Minneapolis or online at magusbooks.com. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, leave a comment. I love looking at those. I do go back and check on those periodically. But if I'm not quick enough for you, that's okay. Just reach out to us here at the shop. You can email me through the website, and have an exceptional week being your best magical you. Blessed be.